If you start planting your garden only after the last frost, you're missing out on a lot of harvest you can have if you try planting some cold hardy vegetables a month or even 2 months before your last frost date. But not all veggies can handle cold spring weather, so let's talk about those that are going to actually benefit from early planting. So let's start our list with carrots. Carrots take their long, sweet time to sprout. They do not need a lot of warmth or light for germination, but they take a lot of time, about a month, to actually start sprouting. One thing they do require for germination is constant moisture. So if you plant your carrots later in the season, you may have too hot of an environment for them, and they will not be able to grow well because of lack of moisture. But early in the spring, the snow is melting and there is a lot of rains usually, so carrots will have more chances to grow. Another vegetable that likes cool spring weather is Swiss chard. It's from the same family as beets, and I like growing Swiss chard for its beautiful, colorful leaves and stems. Chard is very cold hardy. It can take some frost, but it also handles hot weather really well too. So you don't have to harvest it all in the spring, you can let it grow through the summer. Next vegetable is called mash or corn salad. This particular plant that I'm filming right now actually survived my cold Chicago winter. So I planted it last fall, and now in the spring I am harvesting. But you can also plant mash early, like in beginning of March or even February, and it will grow so well during cold spring months. Mash doesn't like hot weather, so it will bolt as soon as the heat arrives. Another vegetable that doesn't like heat and grows only in the cool spring weather is peas. I like growing a lot of peas because my kids enjoy it, and this year I want to grow a lot of it because I want to freeze some for later use. You can start peas directly in the garden 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost, but I like to start my peas even earlier than that, indoors, and then transplant it into the garden as seedlings. And peas can be grown in the garden, in the ground, in raised beds, also in containers, even hanging baskets. I tried growing it last year like that, and I liked it a lot. And in case of severe weather changes like hard frost in April or May, you can always bring those baskets inside. But peas can tolerate light frost with no problems at all. Same as broad beans or fava beans. They are the only beans that you can and should grow in the spring. They not only tolerate the frost, but they like cool weather. They will not grow well in the hot summer. So reserve hot summer months for other types of beans, but grow fava beans in the spring. Next vegetable for cool spring months before your last frost is the whole family, Brassica family, or cabbages. I love growing cabbages, and I noticed that even though some of them can tolerate summer weather, but most of them will only grow when it's cold outside, so in the early spring or late fall. But since now we're talking about the spring, you should be planting your cabbages before the last frost, like a month or even more. I plant my brassicas 2 months before my last frost. Brassica family includes things like radishes, head cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, romanesco, kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, and others. Radishes grow fast, so you can sow them directly into the garden, But other cabbages you can start indoors and then transplant as seedlings. Another Brassica family member is arugula. It also grows fast, so there is no need to start arugula indoors. You can just sow it outside as soon as the soil can be worked. And also some leafy Brassica greens like mustards, you can sow them directly outside as well. Next vegetable is spinach. Spinach is also very cold hardy, and you can sow it in the garden. There is no need to start it indoors. I just sow it early in March, and in the end of April we start harvesting it. I also have some spinach planted in fall that overwinters, and I harvested very early in the spring, like in the end of March. Next crop I want to talk about is potatoes. Potatoes are root crops, so they take a while to grow roots and start growing upwards. And by the time it happens, usually the hard frosts are gone and they can grow nicely and give you early harvest of potatoes. These are my potatoes from last year, and I grow them usually in either raised beds or grow bags. Next on our list is another green vegetable, lettuce. Lettuce is also very hardy. You can sow it directly in the garden 2 months before your last frost, or you can start it indoors and then transplant the seedlings into the garden 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. Lettuce grows really well in cool weather, and it usually bolts when the hot summer comes. And the last category is cilantro and parsley. I group them together because they are similar, they look alike, taste alike, and they both tolerate cold spring weather. Cilantro actually prefers cool spring months because it bolts when hot weather comes, and you have to take advantage of your spring weather to grow these delicious herbs. Other herbs that can tolerate cold are also dill and tarragon. If you like those, give them a try. Plant them as soon as the soil is workable, and you will enjoy some greenery before the summer comes, and you can grow other herbs like basil. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to let me know in the comments below what vegetables you grow before your last frost.